Hello everybody and welcome back to the 2018 Granny Square Crochet Along. Today we are making this lattice cables square. It might look very complicated. It isn't actually as complicated as it looks. We just need to know where we're going for our stitches, know which stitch to go in. These cables are made using front post treble crochets, and the background is half double crochets, and then we've just got a border around the outside. So this is made in rows as opposed to in the round. As you may have found, working in rows can be difficult for sizing. So what I suggest, normally I try and give you an idea of how you can change up the size depending on whether you crochet tightly or more loosely. This one isn't as easy for changing up the size. So what I suggest is you make this in the size that I'm going to show you just now, and then you change your size for your border, and that's where you increase or decrease for your sizing, if that makes sense. So hopefully that will all come good. And the only other thing to say is that the phone I used to use for videoing, these has died and won't charge anymore, so I'm using a different camera. And it's all a bit trial and error at the moment, so if this is maybe not as clear as usual or a bit darker than usual, then I apologise, and I will hopefully get it all figured out for the next video. So hopefully we'll all be good. So grab your yarn. I'm going to do this pink. Grab your hook and let's get going. You could do colour changes on this. I'm not going to be showing you those, so I'll leave you to work those out yourself if you wish to. So let's get started. Okay, so to start this square you need to chain 24. Chain 24, and then when you've done that you need to make half double crochets in along your chain. So you're going to go into the third chain from the hook. So 1, 2, 3. Those first two chains will count as your first half double crochet. So into the third chain and make a half double crochet, and then you're going to go into every chain along right down to your slip knot, making one half double crochet in each, and including your chain 2 at the start, you will finish with 23 half double crochets, and I'll see you in a moment. So here we are, 23 half double crochets later. Now this first row is the only row when you're going to have a chain 2 at the beginning. I know it looks a bit curly now, but it will when we do a stitch into the top of that, you will find that it will sort of straighten out a bit. That's the only row when we're going to have a chain 2 as our half double crochet. All the other rows are going to be made like this. We are going to chain 1 and then turn your work over, and this chain 1 just helps to bring it up a little bit, but we won't be using that. We're just going to ignore that and then go into your very first stitch here with a half double crochet. Okay, so this chain 1 won't really mean anything, it will just fade into the background. So then you're going to do a half double crochet in every stitch all the way along, and when you get down to your last stitch, your chain 2, you're going to go into the very top chain and do your last half double crochet. Okay, and I will see you back there when you have 23 half double crochets. And this is what you should look like when you have your 2 rows of half double crochets. There we go. So this is the back, the wrong side. So we just flip it over, and there we go. This is the right side. There we go. So we are going to move on to row 3, and this is where we start doing our cables. We start doing our front post treble crochets. So what you are going to do for this row is chain 1 and turn your work, and you're always going to start your row with with the chain 1, turn, and then a half double crochet in your first stitch. You're going to do that on every row, and then you are going to do a front post treble crochet around the half double crochet 2 rows below. So on this first row you're going to do a front post treble crochet around there. So you're going to do yarn over twice, and then you are going to look below and you're going to go 2 rows below, and it will be your second stitch. So you've got your first stitch here, and then there's your second stitch. So you're going to a front post treble, so you're going to go from the side behind and push that post of that stitch forward, making it a front post. So pushing that post forward, and then do your treble crochet just as you normally would. Okay, just as you normally would. And then you are going to okay, apologies there, I just got myself a bit confused as to where we're actually going next. So you're going to do a front post treble crochet 3 stitches away from this previous one. So 1, 2, 3, and go into that one. So behind there, 3 stitches along, and do your front post treble crochet. Okay, that's that one. And then you are going to do a half double crochet on the row here that we've technically on. So what you're going to do for that is, if you can't quite work out which ones are behind, if you look where you did your previous half double crochet, so this very first half double crochet at the end here, you're going to skip 2 half double crochets and then do one in third. So we have a half double crochet in this stitch here, and then I'm going to skip 1, skip 2, and do a half double crochet in the next one. So you're going to skip 2 half double crochets, which count for your 2 front post treble crochets. Okay, and there we go, there's your half double crochet. And then you are going to do a front post treble crochet next to this very first front post treble crochet. So go back and find your half double crochet there right next to it, and you're going to do it front post there. Okay, and that just makes that a crossed treble. So if I can try and make sure my camera focuses, I'm aware it's going in and out of focus, and I apologise for that. I will work it out for next time. So if you can kind of see this here, we have this first front post going straight, and then we have next to it we've got one going in this direction across here, and then we've got our half double crochet behind, and then we've got another front post coming down, making the top of this X. Okay, so now we are going to do a half double crochet on our current row. So you're going to skip a half double crochet, so find your last one, skip 1, and do a half double crochet into the next. There we go. And then it's time to start these to do another X. So you're going to yarn over twice, and let me just count on my pattern. You're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So from this last one here, from this one here, you're going to count 4. 1, 2, 3, and then go into the 4th one. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 in between, go into the 4th. We'll behind the fourth and do your front post treble crochet. Okay, and then as before, you're going to look behind, find where you did your last half double crochet, skip a stitch and do a half double crochet in the next. Okay, and then a front post treble crochet, one back from this last one. So our last one came in this direction. We're going to go skip one and then go back to the next one. Okay, I am explaining it a bit differently to the pattern. We're doing it exactly the same as the pattern, but I'm just, how I kind of find my way around it all is I kind of think it all very differently in my head and work it out. So this is the easiest way I can find to describe this to you, and I hope it's helpful. Okay, so then we're going to go behind, so we're going to skip one and go into the next one and do a half double crochet, and then we're going to do this same X again. So front post treble, 4 stitches along from our previous, so 1 2 3 4 into there, behind there, do your front post, let's try that one again. Front post treble. There we go. Now, just the nature of doing a front post treble, you're going to have a larger stitch here. So when you come to use the next row, if you can see that, this is quite a larger stitch to the rest, but it's okay. It doesn't affect your work. So then look behind, find your last half double crochet, skip a stitch and go into the next one. There we go. Then do your front post treble, 2 stitches back from your last one here, so skip a stitch and then back there, and do your front post treble there. Okay, and then we're going to do our half double crochet on this current row. So that was our last one, skip a stitch, go into the next one. There we go. And then it's time for our front post treble, so 4 stitches along, 1 2 3 4, go behind that fourth one, do your front post treble, and then you're going to do your half double crochet behind. Just grab some more yarn, so a half double crochet behind, so there's your last stitch, skip a stitch and then go into the next one for your half double crochet. There we go, and then we're going to do the second part of this X, so going backwards, skip a stitch and go around the next one, like so. Oops, let me get hold of my work there. There we go. Okay, we have one more of these to do, so behind your last stitch, skip a stitch and then a half double crochet in the next one. There we go. So I'm going to do, okay, so we're going to do our last cross. So front post treble, skip 3, so 1 2 3 into the fourth, around the fourth with that front post treble. There we go. Skip a stitch behind, go into the next. Let's just double check we're doing the right one. So skip a stitch, go into the next. There we go. And then a front post treble, 2 stitches backwards, so 1 2 around that second stitch there, and there we go. And then the next one, if you look below, you have 2 half double crochets left. Go into that first one with a front post treble crochet, and then your very last stitch on this current row, you're going to make a half double crochet to finish your row. There we go. And now these front post trebles at the start and finish, this will straighten, don't worry. This first one here and here are, if we look at this one, these straight ones going up are what we're making. So on the beginning and end, we're going to have our half double crochet, and then our front post treble, the straight one, and then we'll have our X's in between. So we've done 5 X's on this first row, and then the next row will be 4. So we've got 2 here, and there'll be 1 in between, 2 here, 1 in between, making our lattice effect. Okay? But now, as we're going to do on every alternate row, we are going to chain 1, turn it over, and go straight into your first stitch with a half double crochet. And you're going to do a half double crochet in every stitch along, making 23 half double crochets. And I will meet you back when I have 23 half double crochets back along my row. Okay, 23 half double crochets along that row. You're going to chain 1, turn your work. Always make sure you have your work on this front side when you do your cables, your front posts. If you start doing them on the other side, then you've gone wrong somewhere. Okay, so we are going to do a half double crochet in our first stitch, and we're going to do that front post treble around this existing front post treble here. Okay, there we go. And then we are going to look behind, and we're going to skip not 1 this time, but skip 2, because we're needing to move further in to start our next cable in between these 2 X's. So we're going to be doing it in here. So skip 2 stitches behind, and then do your half double crochet. No, sorry, not skip 2 stitches. You're going to skip 1 stitch, skip 1 stitch, and then do 2 half double crochets. So 1 in the next 2. So skip 1, then do a half double crochet, and then do another half double crochet. Okay, and then you're going to do a front post treble around your second. So if you look at your crosses here, so you want this your first X, your second X. So look at your second X here, and you want this very first cable here. So the one that goes in this direction, you want this very first one here, and you're going to go around that front post there. Okay, like so. So it's just making that longer. And then you're going to work this row similar to the one down here. You're going to look behind, and you are going to skip a stitch and then do a half double crochet in the next stitch, and then you're going to do your front post treble back around this front post treble here. So this is your first cross, and you've got your front post treble here, so you're going to work around that and do your front post treble. This does become a lot more easier. The more rows you have, the more you realise that you're needing to find the one that's going in the same direction. So now this one is extended up to here. Okay, so then look behind, and you're going to do your half double crochet. So skip a stitch, do your half double crochet, and then you're going to do a front post treble around the next front post here below. Do that front post, look behind, skip a stitch. Sometimes you might need to move just to see where your last stitch was. Make sure you found it, and then skip a stitch, go into the next one with a half double crochet. Front post treble back around this last front post. This is a stitch that sometimes you might need to just have a little look where you're working and find out which stitch exactly you're going to be skipping. I had quite a lot of practice on this one here when I had a pattern and I was working on it to get the right size for our 6-inch squares, and I did a lot of undoing and redoing, so don't be worried if you need to do that. We all need to at times. Okay, so then we're going to do a half double crochet, skip 1, half double crochet in that next one, back to a front post around the one from this one, the next one along. Okay, so when we go for the one in this direction, so the ones that lean this way, we go from this side, and when we go that way we go back to this way. So look behind and skip a stitch, go into the next one with your half double crochet, and then your front post back this way around that one there. It's always so much easier when you've got the previous ones to work around rather than having to work it out with a half double crochet. So skip a half double crochet, go into the next one with a half double crochet, and then we're back to a front post treble crochet this way, and then skip a half double crochet behind, go into the next one with a half double crochet, and then a front post treble crochet back this way, and that is your 4 crosses. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to do a half double crochet, skip one, go into the next one, half double crochet there, and then we're going to do another half double crochet because we have to fill in this gap here where we've got a cross here. We have to fill in this gap. Okay, so there's 2 half double crochets and then a front post treble around this straight one here, and finish with a half double crochet in your very last stitch. There we go. Hopefully my camera will focus. Hopefully it will focus. Maybe it won't. There we go. Okay, so that is your 2 rows of your lattice. What you need to do now is chain 1, turn your work and do a half double crochet all the way back to the other end. Okay, so I'm going to go back over some of this again now that we are doing our front post treble rows around with the other front post trebles. So I will go over this again, and then I'm going to leave you to rewind and repeat. So chain 1, turn your work, and then do your first half double crochet, and then your front post double crochet around your standing front post double crochet, or your straight front post treble crochet. Okay, so we're doing our row of 5 crosses this time, so we're going to start straight off with that. We are going to yarn over twice for our front post treble crochet, and we are going into this front post treble crochet here. Come on, focus camera, focus. There we go. So our very first front post here, go around there for a front post treble crochet. Look behind, skip a stitch, and do a half double crochet in the next stitch. Front post treble. Now this one is the only one you're not going to be going around anything else. Is you are going to go look in your row below, 2 rows below, and you're going to go into the stitch next to this front post. So you've got 1 row of half double crochets, and then you've got this row here, so you're going to go into this very first one here next to your front post. That's the only one that's maybe a little bit more tricky, or I could have actually just said skip one back and go into the next one. That would have been far easier. Okay, so you should always have 1 half double crochet between these kind of legs of your X's. So if you look at your each X here, you've got 1 half double crochet in the middle. Okay, so then we're going to look behind, skip a stitch, and do a half double crochet. Okay, front post treble crochet. Now this one will look like it's a long way away, but actually it's not. So you are going to go around this front post here. So the one going in this direction, you're going to go around there. It looks like it's a long way away, but it's actually not. Look behind, skip a stitch, do a half double crochet, yarn over twice and go back and do a front post around this front post here, front post treble crocheting. There we go. Behind, skip a stitch, do a half double crochet, front post treble all the way over around this front post here, behind, and you are going to skip a stitch and do a half double crochet in the next stitch, front post treble crochet back around this one here. There we go. And on the row behind, skip a stitch, half double crochet in that next stitch, front post treble around this one over here. Oops, there we go. Front post treble around there. Look behind, skip a stitch, do a half double crochet in the next stitch, and a front post treble back around this one here. There we go. Look behind, skip a stitch, half double crochet in the next one. And then this is our last one that we don't have a cable here, so the front post treble next to your front post treble on this row here, so 2 rows below, and front post treble here. It will be in line with where your previous one was there on the bottom row. So next to your front post treble there, look behind and skip a stitch, do a half double crochet in there, and then you are going to do your, have I missed a stitch somewhere? Let me just double check. Okay, you're probably sitting there knowing exactly what I've just missed. I haven't done my last X here. So back around that post there and to your last front post treble crochet. That's the part that I often miss. Crazy. Okay, so you're going to miss the next stitch, and then you are going to go straight into doing a front post treble around this straight one here. Okay, so you've finished your X there, and then you're going to do a front post treble around this one here, this straight one, and then you're going to do a half double crochet in your very last stitch. So you will have 2 skipped stitches behind, and then a half double crochet in that, in that very last stitch there, and that is that row. You can see how it's starting to work up into your lattice, lattice now. Yeah, lattice. So there we go. I'll show you the other row once more, and then I'll leave you to continue. Before I show you the other row of cables, you need to do your chain 1 and work your way back with your row of half double crochets. Okay, so when you've done your row of half double crochets, just chain 1 and turn your work. And we're going to do this row of 4 crosses, or X's. Okay, so we're going to chain 1 and we've turned, and then we're going to do a half double crochet in our very first stitch, as always on any row, and then a front post double crochet around this straight front post treble crocheting, and then we're going to look behind, we're going to skip a stitch, and then we're going to do 2 half double crochets, 1 and 2 half double crochets. And then we are going to do our first front post treble crochet, and that's going to be all the way over here around this first front post. And then we're going to look behind, skip a stitch and do a half double crochet. Front post treble crochet back this way around this front post here. Look behind, skip a stitch, half double crochet in the next, and then you're going to go along and do your front post treble crochet around this one here, look behind and skip a stitch and do a half double crochet into the next one. Front post treble crochet around this one backwards, skip a stitch, half double crochet, front post treble crochet around the one to this side, behind, skip a stitch, half double crochet in the next, front post treble crochet back around this one here. Look behind, skip a stitch, half double crochet in the next, front post treble crochet around your next one to this side, look behind, skip a stitch, half double crochet in the next, and then a front post treble crochet this way around this one. Okay, and then skip a stitch behind, half double crochet in the next. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 crosses now. So we're going to do another half double crochet in the stitch next to, and then a front post treble crochet around our upright one here, and then finish with a half double crochet in your very last stitch. So you will have a skip stitch behind there and a half double crochet in this last stitch. There we go. So you now have 2 rows of each cables. You've got your 5 and then a 4 and then a 5 and then a 4, and you are going to repeat this all the way up until you have 4 rows of each. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you'll finish on a row of 4. Okay, so you'll have 8 rows of crosses all together, and then when you've done your last row of your cables, you should be roughly square. Okay, it should be roughly square. This is a square that has lots of stretch on it. It does have lots of stretch. You might want to block it out to the right size. I'm not going to continue this one right now. You can just rewind a few minutes and repeat those 2 rows, or you probably can remember it anyway. It's quite simple in that you need to remember your next row now is going to be a half double crochet row, and then you're going to start your next row is a 5, so you're going to do your half double crochet and then your front post treble crochet around here, and then you're going to start and you're going to work around each of these front posts and each time behind doing your half double crochet, and then you'll do your row of half double crochets. Your next row will be this one with 4, and remember you do half double crochet, front post, 2 half double crochets, and then you start your cables along, and then you finish with 2 half double crochets and then your front post and then your half double crochet. So quite simple. When you've got these to work around, it's quite helps you along a lot. The first couple of rows can be a bit tricky, but when you've got those to work around, it can be a lot more helpful. So work those along, and when you work those along, it's just a case of doing a single crochet border or half double crochet border around the edge, depending on the size. You might want to do a couple of borders around. I think this one probably needs another. I did this is single crochet here, and I realised that it's not quite big enough, so we've changed the pattern to be half double crochets, and just putting 3 half double crochets or 3 single crochets in each corner and along, doing 23 and 23 top and bottom and 23 down each side. So that is it. I'm going to leave you to finish making this up, and hopefully I'll finish this up later today and have it as a photo in the group album this evening. So hope you've enjoyed that. If you found this useful and helpful, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, click that like button, and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. loads more videos there on our playlist, and all the info on the pattern, and there's a chart and everything in the Facebook group, which there's a link in that box below. So until next time, just keep hooking and don't let your tea get cold.